You ever have that moment where you realize you're not as important to someone as they are to you? It's not like they said it. They didn't sit you down and explain it. You just feel it. Like the weight shifts in a friendship or a relationship, and suddenly you see the scale for what it is. And the weirdest part? It's not always about some huge betrayal. Sometimes it's just the quiet things. They take longer to text back. They forget things you told them. You hear about their big news from someone else. Little reminders that maybe you're not the person they think of first. For some people, it's not even a single event. It's just always been that way. You might be like me. Grew up without a big circle of friends, so every person who gets close to you feels rare. You hold on to them tighter because you can't afford to take them for granted. But to them, you're just one person in a crowd of many. Not because they don't care, but because they simply have more people to care about. And maybe you've had something like this happen. There's someone you click with, a classmate, a coworker, someone you see often. You're not best friends yet, but you look forward to seeing them. You start imagining more connection, thinking maybe they feel the same way. There was this person I knew, introverted, usually kept to themselves. But one semester they pushed themselves to be more social, started talking to a classmate they really liked being around. They even worked up the courage to ask them to hang out after finals. And the answer? I'm leaving tomorrow. That was it. To her, he was a nice acquaintance. To him, she'd been the highlight of his week for months. It's not wrong, it's just unbalanced. And when you start noticing that imbalance, it hurts in a quiet way. You start replaying memories differently. The hangouts that meant everything to you were just another Tuesday for them. The texts you overthought, they barely remember sending. Here's something I've learned the hard way. People love in different ways. We measure importance by what we need, by the gestures that matter to us. But someone else might show care in a way that doesn't line up with ours, and we misread it as them not caring at all. It's so easy to think, they didn't do X, so I must not matter to them. When really, their way of showing up might just look different. That doesn't mean the imbalance disappears, but it does mean it's not always about worth. Still, there's this ache that doesn't go away right away. You start asking yourself, am I doing too much? Do I always care more? Is something wrong with me? And you want to stop caring so much. But that's the part of you that makes you, you. And here's where it gets complicated. The mature part of you knows you shouldn't rely on others to prove you're important. You know you have value without someone else validating it. But the human part of you, it still wants to feel chosen. It still wants to be someone's first call, not their afterthought. Sometimes I think about it like this. You can be someone's friend and still not be their person. They might care, but they have someone else they go to first. Family, a partner, an old friend. And you can't replace that history, no matter how much effort you put in. It's not a competition you can win. And honestly, it's not supposed to be a competition at all. So what do you do with that feeling? For me, it starts with remembering my own life is full too. Not in the same way as theirs. Maybe I don't have that huge network. But I have things that matter to me. And the more I invest in those, the less I'm waiting around for someone else to make me feel important. And some days, it's enough to remind myself. The people I matter most to might be fewer, but I do matter. I don't have a neat resolution for this. Because even when you understand it, even when you accept it, it still stings sometimes. It still catches you off guard when you see them give someone else what you wish they gave you. But here's what I've learned to do. Instead of pulling away completely, I adjust my expectations. I stop asking for the kind of role in their life they can't give me, and I appreciate the role they do. Because sometimes, loving people for what they can give, instead of resenting them for what they can't, is the only way to keep the connection alive. And let's be honest, that connection might not be the deep, all-consuming bond you once pictured. Sometimes it's just a thread. Hey, how's it going every couple of weeks. A like on your Instagram story. Just enough to say, I still know you exist, but not enough to be a real presence. And you learn to live with it. Because what's the alternative? Storming in with, hey, I think I care about you more than you care about me. Like that's going to go over well. They'll either say, no, that's not true, and you'll still feel the same way. Or they'll say, yeah, probably. And then you're stuck pretending you're cool with it while quietly dying inside. So instead, you take the adult route. You quietly lower your expectations. You stop checking your phone every 5 minutes for their reply. You stop feeling guilty for making other plans without them. You start putting that energy into people who, frankly, make you feel like less of an emotional charity case. And here's the plot twist. When you stop chasing that validation, You realize how much mental real estate they were renting for free. Suddenly, you've got all this extra space to notice the people who actually show up. The friend who sends you memes at 2 a.m. just because they knew you'd laugh. The coworker who saves you a seat before the meeting starts. The cousin who texts you a photo of the sky because it looked like something you'd appreciate. They're not grand gestures, but they're the kind of small, steady things that don't make you question your worth every other Tuesday. And sure, sometimes the old feeling sneaks back in. Like when you see that person out with a group, looking like they've known each other for decades, and you think, cool, glad I didn't make the guest list. It's petty. It's human. You let yourself roll your eyes, maybe even talk a little trash in the group chat, and then you move on. Because you realize you're not missing them so much as you're missing the idea of what you thought you had. At the end of the day, not everyone's going to see you the way you see them. And yeah, it stings. But you can either keep re-auditioning for a role you were never going to get, or you can walk off that stage and find a place where you're already cast as the main character. And that's not just healthier, it's a lot less exhausting.